So for more insight into the study, we now welcome Professor Manfred Green, the head of the International Master of Public Health Program at the University of Haifa, and he joins us from the city of Haifa. Professor, thank you so much for your time on this day. So talk us through the findings of the study. Why would women be more likely to suffer with side effects from the COVID vaccine than men?
Well, maybe I'll start first of all by saying that the mechanism is not well understood, and that's something that we're still researching, as many others are. But I want to make one important point, and that is that the fact that the side effects or the adverse events are not reported by gender or by sex is actually, I think, in many respects, a failure of the companies producing the vaccine. Because if you think about it, if it's twice as common, the side effects are twice as common in women as in men, then the adverse effects or the side effects may be relatively mild in men and very significant in women. And this is not clear when they produce actually the results, which are diluted when you combine the two.
So talk to us then about how you conducted this research, and then when you did make your findings, are you giving it back to the company as you're pointing out right now?
Right. First of all, we carried out the study, actually a series of studies. We took, first of all, data from the Ministry of Health. These are just what we would call passive reporting, which is very much underreported, of course. Very low rates are reported. But that did give us a first indication that there was a significant difference between women and men. We then carried out what we call an online survey through a survey company, which is done through a panel. And we found, again, that the rates were amongst women were about double in men, and I actually can expand to which kind, because some of them were even more than double. And then we carried out two surveys at a large workplace, which we did in the workers in the workplace, and we distributed questionnaires, and we got answers to the questions describing the side effects that they'd experienced after the first, second, and third vaccine dose. So basically, there were four sources of data, which gives a very wide spread of actually, I think, reinforcing the findings.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, of course, these are early days in the pandemic, and right in the beginning, 2 years ago, there were many concerns about the impact of COVID and vaccines, specifically on fertility. Many saying it was too soon to tell back then. Is there any new insight on how COVID or the inoculations we're talking about now could impact women wanting to have children?
No, I think there's no evidence at all that it affects fertility or does it affect women who are pregnant. There's no biological basis for it, and there's been no evidence in the studies that have been carried out. So that should not be a cause for concern. The only issue that we're dealing with in these studies here is basically what we call the reactogenicity. In other words, the amount of side effects that the vaccine causes. And the importance, again, is that it's twofold. First of all, we need to know when they actually produce a vaccine, they actually monitor the vaccine for side effects and then actually do the dosing or whatever according to the side effects. And it is possible, I believe it is possible that women maybe should be getting a lower dose if this is true, if in fact our findings are substantiated.
And we've been hearing many experts talking in recent months about getting back to a so-called normal life post the pandemic. Professor, does this likely involve COVID vaccines on an annual or biannual basis, like many people take flu shots? Your thoughts?
I believe that that's a very real possibility, and there are several reasons. Obviously, one is basic, and that is this is a virus that is a family of RNA viruses, which we know change and mutate, and also it's very difficult to generate long-term immunity. We know that for the flu vaccine, which has to be given annually, even if there is no change in the type of virus. It's a fallacy to say it's given because of a change in the virus. That's only one reason, but the actual immunity is limited to several months. So in fact, it is possible, and again, we're seeing breakthrough infections after the vaccine. So it is possible that this, in order to control this pandemic, at least in the early, maybe in the next few years, we'll have to give a regular vaccine. I don't know if it'll be every 6 months or once a year, but that'll certainly be something that will have to be seriously considered.
Always appreciate your insights. Thank you so much, Professor Manfred Green, live from Haifa. Thank you for your time. Be well.
Thank you, Beniza.